Hey, hey, greetings, 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 good people, and welcome to another edition. I took a little break. Hopefully, you're dealing, this is my new, Afrofuturistic lunch lady look. I'm totally loving it. We are about to have a really good time today. I'm excited about the sister that's coming on. Fayemi Shakur is someone that I met for the first time last year in Martha's Vineyard for the Art on the Vine um, fair, and this sister has taken off. So I'm going to bring her in, and then we're going to get into it. This is Fayemi Shakur. Hello.
Hey, hey.
How are you?
I am blessed, grateful, and feeling all right. I probably could use a little bit of sleep, but
Yeah, see, I love that. I mean, I'm glad that you are feeling good, even though you're not getting as much sleep as you probably need, because you've been burning a lot of candles. So we're going to do that. We're going to talk about all of this stuff. But first, I would like for you to tell me how you're feeling today.
I feel really grateful and so happy to see you.
I know, this is so exciting. I'm
Yeah,
so excited.
we met almost exactly a year ago.
It's actually in a week and a half, it'll be a year.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a story, because there's always story time. So Fayemi is co-founder of this collective, A Womb of Violet,
Yes.
and they had come to Art on the Vine, and I am part of that team. Shout out to Jessica and Sheldon and Hadia and oh gosh, I'm about to forget names. You know what? Let me just stop because it's too much. But that particular fair I've been working with for 2 years, and so I suggested that we do a meeting of the mind, a symposium, as it were, and had all of these amazing Black women come from all over to come and share their work. And this was one of the things that was shared.
She has the book.
Oh my God. So this book is an anthology. The sisters that are part of the collective put together, their work. This is all handmade. So this is a handmade screen printed book. Lithograph, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Holly Bass, for those Holly, this is a picture of her as part of a series. She was
with Adama Delphine Fuangu.
Okay, thank you. Adama Delphine Fuangu took the picture. This was one of the works that was featured in the fair. They came, they gave us poetry, they gave us like Sister Circle, they gave us like full-on Black woman self-actualized and realized, and it was amazing. Then, and that was in August, right?
Yeah.
And then I had to come up to Jersey for a friend's birthday party, and I was like, hey, I'm going to be in Newark. And I think within 20 minutes of me saying, hey, I'm here, she had organized a little crew of the sisters, and we went over to Jasmine's house, I think.
Yeah, Jasmine Mann's the poet. Yep. I mean, we live 5 minutes away from each other.
So. And you kept saying, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I'll let the girls know you're here. And they gave me strawberries, and I got to hang out. And, it was amazing. And I have been grateful for having met you ever since. So thank you. Because every time I look at this book, I get like all excited because you guys, this is an amazing piece of work. Are there any more available still?
A few. We did a limited edition of 100.
Okay.
We have less than a dozen left.
Copy.
We did put it in a few collections. It is in the collection at the Yale Bernanke Library for Rare Books and Manuscripts. It's at Hamburg. It's in the Library of Congress. We wanted to make sure it was archived.
Right.
I knew when I was conjuring it that it was going to be something special that I wanted to preserve. So, and I'm working on the next one.
Let me know if you're taking requests.
Oh, okay, absolutely.
So today we are going to talk about a lot of things. One of the things that I didn't know until you sent me your bio was that you had gone from artist and arts advocate to full-on administration. You are now the Arts and Cultural Affairs Director for the city of Newark, New Jersey. That's hella impressive. And you have come in and you have done amazing things in a very short time. So can you share a little bit about the decision to shift, to kind of expand, I won't say shift, but to kind of expand how you work into an administrative space.
Yeah, thank you so much for just seeing me and understanding my practice because I am a writer, but I have also had a organizing background. I've been an organizer for a long time, and I just started applying that to my art practice. But Mayor Baraka, I've known the Baraka family and respected Mayor Baraka's administration from the beginning. I've been a member of our arts community here in Newark for 20 over 20 years. We're like family here. Before, doing this work in 2016, I worked as executive director of the gallery City Without Walls, which unfortunately closed, which also opened my eyes to some of the issues around funding and equity and sustainability for arts and cultural organizations in our city, but also in our state and nationally. And I was really upset about it for a while. But I feel like everything that I have done for the past 20 years has, in this weird way, led me to this role. And the mayor came to me. I saw him at the funeral for a beloved artist, the oldest living artist in the city, Gladys Parker Brower. Um, and he came up to me and he said, I need your help. I want you to come by the office next week and make an appointment with my assistant. I thought the mayor was going to ask me to volunteer for something.
Meanwhile,
I said, sure, Mayor. I get there and he tells me what he needs me to do. And I was nervous. I had 3 residencies in
wow.
2019, in addition to, being able to go with the collective to Art on the Vine to present there. I had a residency at the Center for Photography at Woodstock, exploring, deepening my love of photography. I mostly have written about photography for the New York Times, but it really was very humbling to think about moving into a role of service that in a way that was um, beyond me and my practice. It's something that I knew, and the mayor knows, my arts community needed this type of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, yes, Mayor. Yes, Mayor.
So I'm glad you said yes. And I know that was a big decision. And I'm watching you, as I'm listening and watching you, I am feeling like all kinds of things, like, because the way that you speak, the thoughtfulness in which you approach everything that you say it's just otherworldly to me. So it is. I'm just like, oh my God, I could listen to her talk all day long and I would just be happy. And it's all, I'm hyped over here because I've been drinking my tea blends. So I'm trying not to be like on 25 because I'm so excited. But when I think about that ask, I wanted to find out, because when I was doing some research, did that position exist before you were asked to come on board?
Yes, my predecessor had served in that role for many years. And that was another reason why it was difficult for me because um, she's so respected in her city, as an elder,
Mhm.
you know, um, and sometimes, when there's a willingness to kind of pass the torch
Right.
to new leadership and new vision, I'm deeply appreciative of, that because I do think that too is important.
Okay. And then in that space, you come in. One of the articles that I read said that you came in January,
Yeah.
and COVID started Lerona started carrying on in March. And somehow you were able to take the original arts grant, the Newark Arts Program, I guess the arts grant, and reframe it and recalibrate it into what's now called the Creative
Catalyst Fund.
Creative Catalyst Fund. And I wanted you to share a little bit about that, because I think that there's been a lot of conversation around arts granting, arts, supporting, making sure that we don't lose the arts in the space of, what's happening with COVID, people having to pivot. And that's like if anything, that is the word of 2020 is pivot.
Oh,
Yeah. And so when
yeah.
I'm thinking about arts grants, one of the reasons why I've always been reluctant to apply is because I just feel like the process is so labor intensive and I just don't have the fortitude for it. And it just feels like such a huge task. And so one of the things I wanted to find out from you was what was going on with the original program that you felt might have been a challenge in keeping some artists away from some of these resources.
Well, the Arts Fund didn't exist. And my role and my predecessor's role, um, I tried to make it fit the times that we're in right now. She had her own vision for how she approached things, and what we needed was a vision that was really focused on the sustainability of our arts and cultural organizations. There were several organizations that had closed. There were many that didn't own their own spaces and had an uncertain future about how long they could stay in those spaces. And so the Arts Fund became important. It was the first time that the city had a willingness to create a program like this. And it was really an initiative. You know, for a long time, we had been talking to the mayor about some type of percent for art fund.
Right.
And I think we didn't think he was listening, but he really was.
Mm-hmm.
And there were two things that he told me, two initiatives he wanted me to get started on immediately, and one was the Arts Fund. And so he really gave me a lot of freedom in putting that vision together. Who should this fund serve?
Right.
Um, and so I really had to design the application, the grant, the guidelines, the entire process. But it was interesting because as an artist, I've applied for grants before.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm on the other side,
Right.
putting one together. And I had to also think about the needs working for the city. These are city funds, so there's
Right.
certain reporting that's necessary.
Right.
But we wanted to make sure that it served individual artists
Mm-hmm.
and small to mid-size organizations, because a lot of times the funding goes to larger organizations, and
Right.
we need to balance it out. We need to expand our funding models. But it's
Right.
interesting that you say grants are intimidating to people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in a lot of ways, it's about access, right?
Right.
Like, how do we improve access for artists so that they do feel that it's easy? And it wasn't an easy application because
Right.
we were in the middle of COVID
Right.
and everybody was stressed the hell out, and who could think about documents and do I
Right.
have this document and can I put together a budget? And I really try to hold, information sessions and, just be available and engaging. I've known some of these folks in our artist community for many years. So I just try to make myself available to answer folks' questions and walk them through it if need be. And that was the kind of engagement that we needed because I knew that folks were going to be out of work, were going to be laid off, were losing jobs.
Right.
I wanted to make sure that artists and our arts organizations were respected just as much as small businesses are. Like they
Right.
contribute so much to our community, and my I'm passionate about it.
I mean, so I'm a board member for a paper arts organization here in Maryland, and in light of all the things that's been happening with what I call the uprisings, there has been, there's a move now to try to, to create a really strong statement of inclusion and practices that follow. And I wonder for you, as an artist, as an arts advocate, how does this time stand out to you in the larger scope of like what you've experienced and what you've seen? Like, what are you thinking? Do you feel hopeful? Do you feel like the change that we are seeing is sustainable, that it will stick? People gonna get tired.
Ooh, this is a marathon, not a sprint.
Right.
You got to pace yourself.
Right.
Um, and that's one. That's first and foremost is pacing ourselves for the long haul because this is definitely a movement and not a moment. And there's just so many levels. Like
Yeah.
it's a pandemic on top of a pandemic. We have, the crisis of racism and the crisis of COVID. Um, it's really a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess um, um, it's hard to. I think people just have to like prioritize what's important to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's what I've been trying to do. But racial capitalism is something that's been heavy, heavy, heavy on my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Doing these statements, that organizations are putting out, and I just really listen to my elders.
Right.
I visited Mama Amina Baraka a couple of weeks ago, and just hearing from her and other people like her who say that they're so proud of us, and
Mm-hmm.
how they feel like the work that they had done, it wasn't in vain.
Mm.
To see us taking it forward. I mean, that's really, I mean, if that doesn't give you the motivation to keep going, I mean, I don't know what will.
Right.
A lot of the heavy, heavy, hardest work really has been done for us already.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we absolutely better take it over the finish line right now, right now.
Right.
Everything is right now.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And in the space of right now, how do you manage your personal life? Because you are, you got other things going on. Your mommy, you got your art, you have yourself, you got all of these things. Where's the self-preservation in the space of all? Because people are looking to you to lead. They're looking to you to lead. They're looking to you to follow up. So how does Fayemi take care of herself in all of this?
I have a daily practice.
Mm-hmm.
My children, thankfully, are older. My
Mm-hmm.
oldest is 21, and he's here with me, and he's super cool. He's like a Zen Buddhist monk up in here. He's so laid back and cool. We didn't start out that way.
Right.
Rough. COVID was rough. Trying to educate the children about being in quarantine and
Yeah.
wearing masks. For any parent, that was a little bit of a struggle, but we made some compromises. I had to really listen to
Mm-hmm.
what his needs were and just give him the space that he needed. And then we were cool after that.
Okay. Okay.
But as far as personal life, um, we're in a crisis. And so I do try, and I'm working all the time with trying to think of ways to make sure that I am taking care of myself. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I have so much more respect now for public servants in a way that I didn't before, because I see how hard my coworkers work and don't complain,
Right.
doing this work on behalf of residents.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes me look at that role, that people serve as public servants, in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have therapy once a week. Um,
Shout out to the therapists.
for real, for real, for real. I think it's so important. I encourage everybody all the time, like, do it. And we talk through like things that I want to prioritize for myself. And I just try to be patient with myself. If I want to have some coconut cake and some Riesling,
At 10 a.m., then I'm gonna do that.
maybe not 10 a.m., but I just,
It's
I
too
just try
something.
and be patient and loving with myself. And I have wonderful friends and folks who pray for me. And this time really requires us to be like extra, extra loving, like
Right.
more loving and more patient than you have ever been.
Right.
That real, for real, radical love that
Mm-hmm.
we romanticize and talk about, but this moment really calls for that. And so I'm just grateful for, like, wow, all my studies, all my work,
Mm-hmm.
all the theories,
Right.
all the books.
Right.
It has all, I feel like, led up to this understanding that I have, and I'm just grateful.
That's really dope. I was thinking through. So everyone, people who know me know that when we talk about this time, it's about extending grace to yourself and others. And so I'm always looking to see how folks are managing that. And I'm glad that you're doing that. I mean, from what I can tell, you definitely won't let people rush you. So I love that about you. You're like, I will get here when I get here. And so I just was thinking about, because I've seen the pictures of you out in the street, getting the mural done. seen you. We talked about how someone, we're going to talk about that, how somebody tried to come and mess up the mural and had you had to go back out there and fix it. And, you know, you are literally on the front lines in the midst of all of these things. And so just making sure, just getting a sense of how you're managing all of that, that sense of responsibility with that also the need to self-preserve, because we need you, you know, whole by the time this is all, you know, said and done.
It's challenging. I don't have all the answers. I'm still trying to figure it out. A friend of mine, I remember Dr. Amy Cox. I don't know if you know her.
Sounds familiar.
She teaches at Yale now.
Mhm.
Um, but when we were working together once, she just came to mind. She also is an amazing yoga teacher now. She told me once, if you ever want to know how I'm doing, she said, look at my nails.
Oh, okay.
She said, if my nails are jacked up.
Then that means
and
it's a great way to.
And I do think like it's good for, and it's not about like the physical or what's on the outside, but I think it is great to have something for yourself that you know, if
Right.
you're not doing this thing for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
then you should, you know, it's time for you to slow down.
So what's your thing?
My hair.
Okay. Yeah.
My hair. If I go too long and I have not cared for my hair, locks are just frazzled and
Everything's everywhere.
I'm like, you know, I might be overextending myself,
Okay.
not paying as much attention to my own care.
Mm-hmm.
And also if I haven't had any water.
Ah, stay juicy. It's very important.
Very juicy.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still so much I have to do. I've never worked in a position like this before, and
Right.
working on behalf of a whole city and during a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So that's why therapy I feel like is important and for everyone,
Right.
um, because they will ask you the question that other people won't ask you. How are you really doing?
Right. Right. Right.
You know,
And
they'll
I
check
wonder.
on you.
I also wonder for you, because you know some of us are not linear in the way we keep time and the way we manage time. So I wonder what I'm intrigued by that shift for you. Like, what was that like? Like, when was the last time you worked in like an official office sort of setup?
I've really made my own schedule for
Mhm.
almost uh, maybe 2009
Right.
was the last time I had a 9 to 5.
Hmm. The look on your face is classic.
And this is not a 9 to 5.
Right. It's more like a 8 to 12. You know, I feel like it's running all day long for you.
You pick up the phone when a call needs to be answered, but
Mhm.
I'm not on the front lines in the way that other people are really, really on the front lines. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a woman that works for the city. I want to shout her out because I love her, and Reverend Roundtree. During the pandemic in the beginning, she held citywide prayer calls
Oh wow.
with
Okay.
faith leaders from all over the city. And she had a hotline where people could call all day, anytime during a 24-hour period every Tuesday.
Hmm.
Call and just hop on the prayer line if you needed prayer. And
Oh
one
wow.
night I reached out to her and I said, can you give me the number for the prayer line? I want
Right.
for prayer. And it moved me.
Mm.
And ever since I reached out to her, she sends me and probably 100 other people a
Right.
text message every day with a prayer.
Wow. Okay.
And so there are people on the front lines. I'm super modest about my role because I see the work that other people are showing up in other ways. So that just inspires me to try and show up and do my part. I think
Right.
when you have a sense of purpose for what you're doing, that gives you the energy.
Well, shout out to the Reverend. That's amazing because I mean that's a lot of work. That's a lot of internal and emotional lifting. So
And that's just a portion of what she does.
wow.
She's also on this education street team where they go around the city to different areas that maybe if the rates are spiking or if people aren't wearing masks,
Right.
they'll go there. And that's also part of like the strategy when we had our protests here for George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. They we had a street team all on site who
Mm-hmm.
really helped manage everything and kept eyes on the situation and make sure we didn't have any violence and it was peaceful here.
Right.
Um, and so she does that work too. I mean, she does it all.
I love it.
Mhm.
So let's talk about Newark as an arts city. What are the things, I have to be honest with you, I hear Newark, I don't think art, right? And then I come to visit you all and I'm like, what the hell? It's a whole vibe up here. I was shocked at the number of murals. Like, I mean, just driving up to meet you all, I was blown away. And then even the buildings, the way some of these buildings have been repurposed into artist spaces, I was like, yo, I could low key like come here and like vibe.
I keep telling y'all to come
And
over.
I'm like, yo, what I got to do to get like a little apartment or something so I can come in and like, spend my summers? Because I did not know you all are like, you are an arts city. You really, I mean, you know this, people. Newark is really, it is really under, I don't even know what the word is. It's low key, like that's the spot. I was actually quite shocked.
Yeah, you're not the first person to say that to me, and that makes me happy to hear. And part of us wants to keep it a little bit.
I know. I don't believe you. I would too.
Like if we're the best kept secret, we'll be the best kept secret. No, I mean we do want to welcome more artists to our city, and more artists are coming. And renting studio space and finding our community and loving it. And yes, it exists, and of course it does. We are, I mean, we're the home of Amiri Baraka.
Right.
We're a city of poets
Mm-hmm.
and artists, and to see our community. I want to be careful with that word thriving because people think I don't want that people to think that doesn't mean that we're not struggling.
Right.
There is a sense of solidarity, especially in a crisis when, we're not giving up and, we're pushing through
Mm-hmm.
and we do that as a community. Like a little family, we get on each other's nerves,
Right.
talk about each other on Facebook, it all happens.
But you can feel it. Like that the thing is, I remember that drive because it took, I was like, I really didn't know that this was here. You could feel it as you drove, whatever that main street was, driving down to come see you all. Like, it was very clear to me that this was an arts city.
And the street murals, really, that was one of the first times we were able to do kind of a public art project together in community. And the joy around that,
Mm-hmm.
we painted "Abolish White Supremacy" and "All Black Lives Matter" on the streets, and we had some DJs out there to, give us a little,
Get a little shimmy going. Mm-hmm.
a little groove while we were painting, and folks were just dancing and burning sage around each other, and it's strange to say that is joyful, but I think what's joyful about that is the release, the of stepping into just not just our humanity but our liberation.
Right.
To say, like, we are going to put this front and center. Equity and racial justice is front and center.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to step up the language a little bit to help you understand what Black Lives Matter means. Understand what people don't even understand what white supremacy is.
No, they don't, or the concept of it. Because I struggle with, and I've been trying to figure out if maybe we need a language shift. But I absolutely, when I saw the image of "Abolish White Supremacy" and "All Black Lives Matter," that thing set me. I felt really good about that. Because I felt like, okay, now, and the beauty of these street murals is that each iteration gets better, I think. You know, DC did it first.
Well, Detroit has all power to the people.
Oh, see, right. You know,
I love Detroit.
yeah. And so, but but the beauty is that in this time we can see how everyone's reacting, and it allows you in a true artistic way to build and improve on the next iteration of it. I really loved what I saw with yours. And I was so proud of the fact that you know, there seemed to be a genuine it didn't feel performative. I'll just say that.
Yeah, it was truly a collaboration. We got to collaborate with students from the Rutgers University Graphic Design Program,
Mhm.
thanks to one of our partners, Rebecca Jampol, at Project for Empty Space, who is white and who is anti-racist and who shows up and, um, doesn't worry about the limelight or the attention. She's just like, I want to do this work, and brings, her faculty along with her.
Mhm.
And sometimes, we struggle. When we first told some folks, some of the faculty that we were doing abolish white supremacy, we were
They were like, what? Like, we were on board with Black Lives Matter, but what do you mean abolish white supremacy?
like, I mean, there was a pause. And then they were like, okay, let's go.
You know, it's funny. Having these sitting in these spaces as a Black woman, watching white people sort of step up and say, "This is what we need to do," and then watching their counterparts be like,
Yeah.
okay."
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Everybody has to get uncomfortable. Yes, get uncomfortable.
Right.
And lean into the discomfort because
Mm-hmm.
we're all learning and unlearning so much right now.
Right.
That's why I say we have to love on each other like extra hard and be patient. And I love seeing white folks step up to educate other white folks.
Mm-hmm. That's their job.
Showing up at the protest, looking at what Portland, has been doing, holding their protests
Mm-hmm.
every night against, the abuse and violence that they faced out there. It's all so deeply meaningful and moving to me.
Well, it's important work, and it looks great, you know, from the sky, and it feels good, but there are some realities on the ground that you have to deal with, like the fact that not everybody's on board with this. You had someone try to destroy the mural.
Oh, but I anticipated that. I would have thought something was wrong if they didn't.
And so you walk us through the process of how does this work when someone does that? You just how do you organize to do you have people watching it? Like, what's
We got the mayor received the call and I received the call.
Okay.
There's a high school close by, and Newark is such a big small town. We're not gonna do a whole lot here, and nobody's gonna know. Like, somebody's gonna see you, somebody's gonna make a call. We gonna know. And so the call was made that there was a truck that was spotted driving back and forth down the street intentionally,
Mm.
tire marks on the mural. And the mayor said, "Can you fix it?" And I said, "Absolutely." And so, luckily, we had an amazing sponsor with Sherwin-Williams Paint Company, who donated all of the paint for our street mural. We actually spent I don't know, maybe $1,500 doing those murals.
Mm-hmm.
Completely volunteer. No one asked to be paid. The community showed up. And when we reached out and asked for volunteers to help fix it, 20 folks immediately said yes. And we just knocked it out one Saturday afternoon together. And again, it just felt good to even do that with one another.
Right. So when we think about, this current space of the after, and we think about these resistance that we've been seeing in the artistic space, what are you most proud of, and where do you think we need to be thinking about? Where else do you think we need to be thinking about?
in the artistic space.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, that's a big question because I really love the diversity of so many different practices that people
Hmm.
engage in. I think there are questions that every artist and art organization, cultural institution should be asking themselves right now,
Hmm.
um, about Blackness
Right.
and the liberation of Black and Brown people and oppressed people and dismantling these systems that we've lived with for so long, all across the board, whether it's
Hmm.
patriarchy or homophobia, transphobia, all of it.
Right.
And I know that's a lot, right? But I think it's important for every organization and artist to kind of find where their passion and purpose is,
Hmm.
do that thing and focus on that thing. And asking yourself, and it could change,
Right.
it could change with each exhibition, it could change with each public event, but to have a sense of purpose, I think, is the most important thing to say what needs to be said, what is missing, um, why am I doing this,
Hmm.
what could I be doing more of. And even if for individual artists, that just means caring for yourself more.
Hmm.
Like, no one can give you a call to action. Like, it has to be, but it has to bubble up inside of each individual.
Right. Right.
And everybody's not built for this.
Hmm.
And we all have different roles to play. And I think it's just important for us to figure out what that is and lean into it because it is hard.
Right.
You're gonna be tired.
Right.
You're not gonna get a lot of sleep.
Right.
You're gonna be stressed out.
Right.
But my favorite quote by James Baldwin is, "Love is a revolutionary emotion."
Mm.
And
Feel
so
like we've moved into the preaching part of the
I'm
conversation.
sorry.
No, it's all good. I love a good sermon. I don't have a problem with it. I think
No, I don't mean to lecture, but I
no,
think
it's not.
love is, if love is not at the root of what you're doing, um, it just when love is at the root and community is at the root of what you're doing, you'll feel it
Hmm.
and it will resonate with you in a different way.
How do you? Okay, this question just popped in my head, so I'm going to ask it, and hopefully it's not too heavy. But how do you approach apathy? There's been a lot of, we've been doing this for a minute as Black people for centuries, been pushing and pushing and pushing. And I think for some people, this feels hopeful. And I think for others, it's like, whatever. So I wonder, because you made a really good point in one of the articles I read where you said art is it's like a safe space for you to tell your truth.
Oh yes, it's affirming when you can tell the truth
Right.
about how you feel. When someone gives you space to tell the truth, or when
Hmm.
you just take up the space
Hmm.
to say how I feel. When you take up space on the street and put abolish white supremacy in front of a courthouse. Uh, yeah, that's really affirming. Um,
And then how do you, yeah,
actually, we don't have the luxury of that.
okay.
We don't have the luxury of pessimism or apathy, and I don't really keep apathetic folks around me.
Yes, ma'am. I love it. I love it. You got real like we don't subscribe to that.
I mean, I personally don't.
Hmm.
And I know some folks feel that way, and you know, you everybody's not going to be on the same page all the time.
Right.
We don't all share the same vision, and I think that's okay. A lot
Hmm.
of people, ask immediately after protest, they always want to know what's the 10-point plan,
Mm.
the agenda, what are we
Right.
asking for, and
Right.
we never agree on
Right.
what that is.
Right.
And I think that's okay because I think it might look different this time around for every city,
Hmm.
for every community. Um, But apathy is something we don't have time for apathy.
Right.
What's that going to do?
Right.
When people are apathetic, I think that just means they need a break.
Okay. I like that. You need to go sit down, drink some water.
No, just take care of yourself.
Right. Take some time away.
Yes,
Right.
maybe you need time with family and friends.
Right.
You just need, some black joy and happiness.
Right.
And to get a dog or a cat, to go hiking, to be in nature, to
Right.
sustain yourself. Like I said, it's a marathon.
Mm. When we think about sort of, and it's hard to think about the future in a space where everything is constantly shifting and changing. Like I don't even know what day of the week it is at half the time. So timing and time itself is really I'm being challenged on several levels as far as time. And I wonder when you see all of the shift, things are moving and it feels good because you're actually kind of active. How do you imagine, or do you have a sense of what you think the story will be when we look back at this time?
I have no idea. I am like so deep in my imagination and my hope. And there are many, many, many days when I am tired and I am challenged. And, I just write affirmations to myself
Mm-hmm.
to try and keep myself motivated and encouraged and try and surround myself with people who are also motivated and encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the answers and what's going to come next, but I just I've been reading a lot of Adrienne Marie Brown's
Mm-hmm.
emergent strategies.
Mm-hmm.
I just try and feed myself,
Right.
and I may sound over the top optimistic sometimes, but I think we need that.
Right.
We need optimism because the 2020 has been a hell of a drug.
She's been disrespectful on so many levels. She was like, you know what? Let's pull the rug out from under you.
She done ruined my summer.
The floor is waxed and we all have socks on, child. It's terrible.
And the reality is, like, we all need, there's just so many, we're being hit with so many reality checks that we are in straight denial about.
Mm-hmm.
We are in a global pandemic and people are out here not wearing masks. And I'm like going crazy.
Yeah, I saw you posted something. You were somewhere and somebody wasn't wearing a mask. And was it you?
Yes.
Okay, it was the Uber?
Yes, my Uber driver.
Yeah, and I was like,
I opened the door and I was like, he was sitting there like it wasn't no thing. And I'm like, young man.
Sir.
And he was so grumpy. He reached in his little console. He said, I'm tired of stupid mask. And he put it on.
Mm-hmm.
He was so sweet because he had to be maybe 18 to 20 years old. And I just talked to him, but I'm like, well, you work for Uber though.
Right.
You must wear a mask.
Right. Just for your own safety. I mean, if nothing else, you being tired is not the point, but you don't know who's getting in your car.
Yeah, I mean, I really am like resisting fear every day because fear is paralyzing.
Mm-hmm. And what does that look like? Like, how do you talk yourself away, talk yourself out?
Affirmations, like a daily practice of meditation and affirmations. I have like a secret code of affirmations I'll share with you on the back channel.
Okay. Okay, so we got a back channel affirmations.
I can't just give them out to everybody. It's
handing out affirmations.
No, these are special affirmations.
Okay. I'm wondering, is this going to turn into a project maybe? Or do you think it's just for you and your peoples who get the back channel password?
It's for me and my peoples. I share it often.
Okay. It leads me to this question of, when you're a creative person, like early on, there was this push, create. And I was like, nope, y'all better sleep. You better rest because this is not, I just told somebody recently, we're at the beginning of the middle. Like this, like you really need to just pace yourself. And I know that there is this desire in a lot of ways. Even this whole series was designed so that I wanted to at least I wanted to have as many Black voices sharing what they were dealing with in in the things that they were trying to create and move forward with, so that, you know, when this is all like when we get to the point where we are able to, and it might be 2022, where we're able to like effectively move around the way we, you know, the way we like, not used to, but the way we like. I would like for this to be sort of an archive of these voices, to say, okay, we were here, this is what we went through. You know, our children's children can look at this and say, okay, this is what happened. And I wonder, sometimes there's a lot of pressure I put on myself to keep track of all of these things, but I wonder how you decide what is for you and what will be for the community when it comes to your creative output.
Well, see, now my role is different.
Right.
And so, working as a public servant, all of that work is on behalf of, um, you know, the community.
Mm-hmm.
But I did make a decision not to give up my art practice.
Good.
I'm not able to go into the photography studio right now to, you know, I was working on a photo series before um, COVID started, and I had a residency that was supposed to be for 2020
Mm-hmm.
at one of our local photography studios, Shine Portrait Studio at Express Sport. And so, yeah, I was sad about that. And
Right.
I was asking myself, like, how am I going to be able to continue my own artistic practice doing this work?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the way I'm built, I have to,
Right.
I have to find a way.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I'm working on a Room of Violet too. You
Mm-hmm.
know, whatever. And I don't really have extra time, but I'll find some extra time. It's
Right.
Saturday. I'm going to work on it a little bit today. I'll
Mm-hmm.
work on it a little bit tomorrow. I have a couple of women in the collective, Tara Douglas and Bimpe Fagayembo. You know Bimpe.
Yes. I gotta follow up with her.
You know, they're going to co-organize this second iteration with me. So I'm grateful that I have help. And I had help on the first go around, but yeah, that was a handmade book. That
That
we
was
really,
and it's stunning. Are you doing this? Are you doing something similar with the second version?
yeah,
Good.
I really love that process of working with risograph
Mm-hmm.
because it's imperfect.
Mm-hmm.
No print actually looks the same.
Right.
And it's so experimental to play with the images and the text and um, just the color to see uh, how things turn out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love experimenting with this process of bookmaking.
Right.
Um, so yeah, we're gonna do it again. I have to do it again, and this is a good time to do it because there's so much material to work with.
There is. There
There
is.
are a million stories to tell, and this one is really informed by the Combahee River Collective statement that I've
Okay.
just been reading and rereading and rereading. Like, it's deep.
Yeah. That.
And
Yeah.
it's so informative because it really helped me think about my own arts collective, which is really a project-based collective
Right.
around a book.
Right.
Um, and you know, when you're working with Black women in a sister circle type of space,
Mm-hmm.
so many things can come up that
Right.
you don't anticipate, and yeah, it takes radical love.
Yeah. It's, you know, this is I'm teaching for the summer, and this week was I have my students do kind of a, I don't know what to call it, but it's all Audre Lorde.
Yeah,
So I used the Sister Outsiders essay book, and it's just every time I go back and read her work, I'm like, yo, she was a blueprint. The Combahee River Collective, that statement is a blueprint. Like in the way that women's work can function and flourish, like I feel like these four mothers have given us what we need, you know, to not mess it up.
it's already been given to us. There's
Yeah.
nothing new under the sun. It is there, but to take these things from theory to practice,
Yes.
is another level. And I'm
It's wicked.
glad you mentioned Sister Outsider, because
Mhm.
I was just another essay in that book, which was called to my attention the other day, that I completely overlooked, and it's "Yeah, You Better."
It's right here. It's all like
Mine has been stolen and stolen and stolen again. Let
I've
me
had
get
to
rid
buy
of
3 copies of this, but the thing, yeah, this thing,
I've lent it out. It
yeah,
will disappear.
yeah. I stopped lending. I go buy your own. It's not that expensive, but this is a really for anyone looking for some amazing essays. Audre Lorde, Sister
Yeah,
Outsider, is this collection of her work is just
that's it right there.
yeah.
That is it. There is everything in there. There is, you cannot dismantle the master's house with the
This is
master's
the one
key.
I keep coming back to. This is the one because see now I'm about to nerd out, folks. Get ready. That particular essay, I keep coming back to it because even though she's chastising these white women for the way that they've operated in this space of sort of you're gonna be last minute with the black people, put all the black people and so-called people of color on one little tiny panel. I see this as something that we as black people who suffer from anti-blackness syndrome need to be thinking about as well. It's a powerful word. And even though her audience, who she's targeting in this, is not necessarily us, it is something that in the 21st century, I feel like we're in danger of doing ourselves. So that's the essay I keep coming back to.
You know what the new one is that I didn't see and notice before? It's not new, it's been there all the time, but Eye to Eye.
Oh, I got to check that one. Okay.
It's hatred, anger, in black women.
Oh.
Dr. Salamisha Tillett encouraged me to read that. I was talking to her about, the new second iteration of A Womb of Violet, and we started talking about this essay, and she's like, "Go back and read it." And I went and read it, and it talks about why black understanding that when a black woman appears to take her anger out on another black woman, and there's so much what it seems like hatred from one black woman to another black woman, understand that that's not really the truth of it.
Right.
I mean, there's layers.
Yes.
There are wounds under there that when there's can be a history of abuse or low self-esteem or whatever issues exist, like
Right.
how that then can manifest as an attack on one another. And I was like, wow.
Ma'am. So like, yeah, because you have no idea how on time that particular what you just said is. And even just I was part of a conversation earlier this week, and one of my besties, Evelyn Bando, said too many people are walking in their wounds and not their wisdom. And I have been walking with that little nugget she dropped. I'm going to add this to my toolkit, and I'm going to go back and take a look at that essay. But it's true. It's absolutely true. And to me, this is the time for us to really acknowledge that that's what's happening and, self-correct.
But you won't know it if you're not in therapy or in tune with some sort of spiritual practice and doing your own inner work. We are all responsible for our own inner work, and we cannot project our wounds and our issues on each other. But we do it without even realizing it.
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying that COVID and the pandemic, it's a huge house cleaning. You got to get in the corners. As Dr. Shara Goddard said, also the baseboards. You can't forget the baseboards.
Clean it up.
You got to clean it up. So this is like, if ever there was a time for shadow work, this is the time for shadow work. And
yes, it is.
That's what I'm hoping. Like, I'm really hoping that we come out better, all of us in our own way, because this is an opportunity to do so.
Yeah. My ass is back in quarantine.
Oh, we're about to, I've decided. I'm just trying to be Nigerian.
We are literally being forced to reflect.
Yes.
On so many things, and in a weird way, maybe that is the blessing of this.
Right.
Maybe we will come out of this stronger and more loving.
Right. And for me, it's all about self-realization, self-actualization. Like, who do you want to be? How do you want to moving forward? And so when I think about what you've done, like with the book, and just thinking through, like, I think we talked about this because, I was working on my little book project, and now, I had to step away from it. And what I loved about what you did was that you kind of opened yourself up to what the possibility of what the book could look like. The idea of hand printing, these books, like putting these books together in such a way where imperfections are part of the art is it's such a stunning prospect. I was super, super inspired. And I think that is, I found a zine that I had started. I'd cut all these things up and I hadn't finished it. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to finish this and see what it looks like printed. And so this is a great opportunity and time to think about how we can share our world and, push things forward. So I'm super proud of you.
Thank you. You said thank you so much. I feel a little proud of me too
A little
because
bit. I need it to be bigger.
uh, okay, I'm very proud of myself
Good.
too. I am. It took me. I pushed myself through some things to get here, and I'm grateful. It was difficult, but you said something about being productive during this time
Mm-hmm.
and like the pressure of productivity, and I think that that's real too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important to know yourself
Mm-hmm.
and what you need, and to ask ourselves, like, I ask myself, Fayemi, what you need
Yeah, I like that. What do you need today? Yeah, I'm
today.
adding
And
that.
sometimes we cannot overwork ourselves right now, and it's not all about productivity.
Mm-hmm.
And so what if you don't post on social media and you give yourself a time out for a little while so you
Right.
could just go for some morning walks, be with yourself. I feel like those are some of the spaces where the art comes from, is that
Right.
quiet time.
Jasmine did this really dope. I don't know if it was live. By the time I saw it, it was I can't remember how I saw it, but she was talking about writer's block and saying, it's not block as much as it is maybe that poem or that piece needs to be left alone to think about itself, or maybe it's just marinating and it needs to season itself in a way that will help you make it better. But it's not, don't think of it as a block. And I was like, oh, that's so important. Language and, perception. Because I found myself recently getting wound up and getting stuck on all the things that I wasn't doing. And it actually shut me down for a bit because I was like, yo, I'm actually doing behaviors from the before and the after. And I said that I wouldn't do that. So I had to take a break and, like, recalibrate and say, okay, now we're going to come back into this.
That's exactly what happens. We make ourselves these to-do lists,
Mm-hmm.
and when we don't get to them, we feel like we're not satisfied with ourselves, and we're like beating up on ourselves. But
Right.
like, my therapist always asks me, "Did you drink your water today?"
Real talk.
I'm like, "Yes, I did." She's like, "Good job."
Look, when your therapist celebrates you, my therapist, I did something. She's like, I am so incredibly proud of you. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know I needed to hear that. So, when you're doing right by your therapist, then everybody's happy. It's a win for everyone.
Yes, my therapist bigs me up.
I
She's
love
like,
it.
"Yes, yes."
I love it. Well, look at my clock. Yes, we have come to the end of our time together. This was so joyful. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on a relaxing Saturday.
Oh, we try to keep it real wavy. There's no reason to be stressed out up in this piece. And I am particularly excited about volume 2. I cannot wait to purchase it. I think it's going to be just as amazing as this one, if not better. I'm looking forward to seeing, what this time helps you produce. Final thoughts. I asked this question at the end, just because I'm always interested. When we are able to move freely about the country and our passports are worth a damn again, because it's worthless. It's a worthless thing. Our passports are worthless. What is the first thing you think you are going to do?
Bimbe and I talk about this often.
Mm-hmm.
I dream about traveling places. Um, and sometimes I'm like, you think too big.
Girl, okay.
Wait.
Okay.
I'm about to self-correct.
Okay.
But the experiences that I've had lately have helped me feel like there's no such thing as thinking too big. Like, yes, think big.
Right.
Um, there are a lot of places and spaces I want to visit, but I haven't been to the ocean yet.
Mm.
Um, I need to be by some water.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter where. I need to be by some water. And I think we are all craving getting up out of America for a while.
Indeed. Yes.
Where's the first place you want to go?
So it's Negro, because there's a particular that part of the ocean, like the way Yamaya, like the way we talk is it's life giving. And if I can get 3 days with her, I'm good. And then I'm headed to Lagos.
Negro is a beautiful place. It is
Yes.
heaven.
Yeah. And then Dakar. So like it's like once this passport business is I can actually leave this country, it's going to be a lot of time spent on the continent.
I can't make up my mind. I'm being called to South Africa. I'm being called to Ghana. I'm being called to Lagos.
Oh, you do it all then.
Do it all, right?
This is the thing. How is Bimpe your Niger friend and she's not? Look, you have a Nigerian in your life. So big is nothing that we're afraid of. Like, I don't understand what all this small talk is. Yes, you do all of it. That's what you do. All of it gets done.
I keep good people around me.
You're going to be fine. As long as Bimpe is there, you'll be fine. She'll be like, I will just do everything. Having traveled from Johannesburg to Lagos, like, I've always wanted to travel within the continent just to see. You really get a sense of how big that continent is. It took 5 hours from Johannesburg to Addis, and then I think I had an hour layover. Then took another 5 hours from Addis to Lagos, and I was like, wow, that's.
I changed my name to a Yoruba name. Every Nigerian I meet fusses at me. They're like, and you haven't been to Nigeria.
Wow, what are you waiting for?
Oh, I get it all the time. And so I must go. I have to go. But I really love what Kende Wiley did with Black Rock Senegal. And I would love to establish some type of international residency for North artists and bring them on the ride to,
Well, I have something. I have something for you.
Oh, what you got?
Well, we gonna talk. This is back channel stuff, but you need to prepare for December. There might be an opportunity to try to do something. Okay. And just like that,
God willing,
back on the road again. We're gonna get it. Thank you, Fayemi Shakur. You are a blessing. Thank you so much for taking time out with me. Super proud of the work you do. You represent Newark beautifully. You and your entire crew are amazing. I need y'all to figure out how I can have a low residency apartment in Newark so I can come up there whenever I need to write. I know you can make it happen. I know it's possible.
Look, I'll send you the contacts. All you got to do is follow up.
Okay. And it's there. And we'll have a little back and forth. I love it. This has been another edition of Cat's Corner 101. Thank you all for tuning in. Tomorrow we are talking with Ida Kipp. She'll be coming to us from Amsterdam. Be meeting another arts and culture creative. It's going to be a lot of fun. Fayemi, again, you are amazing. Please make sure that you follow her, keep track of what she's doing, and if you have questions, I've actually placed her information in the comment section of the Facebook, and I will add it to the YouTube description so you can contact her directly. Have a wonderful day, and we are out because this culture ain't gonna make itself. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you soon.
Peace and blessings.
Okay. Right, my bad. Okay, now we're out for real.
Okay, you want your affirmations now?
Hold on, wait a minute, because I'm messing up. Because we still on the thread. Let me stop. Okay. I'm doing this. Bye, y'all. For real, we're leaving.